What's up, Car Squad fam, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Derek and I do car reviews. Today we'll be checking out this 2004 Lexus RX330, and this one has just over 220,000 miles on it. Now, the Lexus RX is built on a unibody platform which it shares with the Lexus ES, and as you may know, it is one of the best-selling vehicles not only here in the US but in the world. Today I'll give you a tour around both the exterior and interior of the vehicle. Then I'll put you in the driver's seat to see what it's like driving it, and then finally I'll wrap it up by giving you my thoughts on the vehicle. And I am located here in the Bay Area in Northern California, so if you're up this way and have a vehicle that I can review, please shoot me an email at the address listed here. Thanks. Now before we move under the hood, I do want to just point out the simple, more subtle styling, not only the front end, but really the whole vehicle compared to what you find on the modern RXs. This is back when they were making them elegant looking, but not as aggressive and loud as the newer ones tend to be. So a couple cool things just to point out up front here. This vehicle does have front headlight washers, so you can activate these from the interior of the vehicle. One very cool thing about this, and this started I believe in 2003, is the swivel adaptive headlights. So these headlights, say you're driving on a windy road at night and you're coming into a turn, the vehicle kind of senses the road and how you're driving, and the lights will turn into the turn for you. So it's a nice way of kind of seeing around the bend. I remember when this first came out, seeing specifically the ads for the Lexus RX. That was kind of the hero item of the commercials, but it was such an awesome feature at the time. So up front here in the engine bay, you'll see the 3.3 liter V6 engine that this vehicle is powered by. It's got a 5-speed automatic transmission, puts out 230 horsepower and 242 pound-feet of torque. Now, this vehicle is the all-wheel drive version, so you get 18 miles per gallon in the city and 24 on the highway. Alright, so as we move around to the back of the vehicle now, you'll see again the styling isn't overdone, but it is appealing looking. The rear taillights here, I do remember these being some of the first clear taillights that I saw in the industry, and I think they look pretty good. One thing I should point out is, this vehicle is 17 years old and has 220,000 miles on it. Typically, you'd be able to just tap on this button here to release the trunk and allow it to open all the way up. However, as you see, that's not working, so you just have to manually lift it open all the way. Now to close it, you do have this button here, and you can tap that and the closing feature on its own is working. Once you're back here in the trunk, you'll see you do have a good amount of room for cargo and storage back here. You of course also have your sliding cover to hide any of those items that are back here. One cool thing about the RX is you do have these two buttons here. You can press these down and the rear portion of the floor will open up and you'll find a little hidden storage compartment here. Now if you flip this mat up, you'll find this latch here, which will open the rear floor, and then underneath there you will find your jack and some tools if you need to change the spare tire, which is located underneath the rear of the vehicle. You also get your Lexus first aid kit, and as you'll see, here's some of the items that it comes with. Alright, so as we move into the rear seat of the RX330, legroom and headroom are very good in here. The driver's seat is set to my driving position. I'm 6'1", and I have plenty of legroom and very good headroom back here. Now this vehicle has been within the same family for most of its life and just passed around from one family member to the other. One of those family members had some young kids, and they definitely did their best to destroy the rear seats here. Now there is some staining to the carpet, but the seats themselves have held up extremely well and are still very comfortable. The center seat, however, is a little rougher on the seat back. I think it is because you have all this inside. When you flip it down, you've got this big piece here that folds open for your cup holders, and then right above that you've got a large pocket to store other items. So I think that kind of takes away from some of the softer supports you would get in the backrest. As far as features go back here, you don't have any features. You just have these two rear air vents. You don't get to control the temperature for those. That's just set to whatever the temperature is for the rest of the vehicle. Alright, so now moving up in front to the driver's seat. Again, those comfy seats from the rear are carried forward here in the front seats as well. Very comfortable. The only wear really here, you've got a little bit on the side bolster and then a little bit on your driver's armrest. But other than that, the materials, everything here looks pretty good for 17 years and 220,000 miles. You just have one small crack here on the passenger side of the dash. As far as storage goes up here, you do have this pocket here that flips open for your cup holders. I should also point out that these can flip up and you can hold an even larger bottle. It is one of the only vehicles that fits my large hydro flask. Just behind that, you will find a larger space where you can hold some CDs or other items, and you can open and close that by the push of these buttons. And then on the floor between where your shifter and your cup holders are, there is an open space there. Down below, you also have a power outlet cigarette lighter down on the floor there. Now to the left of the steering wheel here, first off, you'll find this cup holder that pops out, maybe a little bit of an awkward spot for a cup holder. To the right of that, you've got your knob to adjust the brightness of the gauge cluster. And then to the right of that, of course, your odometer trip setting. Just below all of that, you'll find here your left and right mirror controls. You have a blank button here, but to the right of that, you do have the button to open up the trunk door. Just below, you've got another blank here, but you have your button just below to open up your gas tank. One nice thing about this vehicle is it does have the telescoping wheel. You can adjust pulling the steering wheel out to you, up and down. So it's a very nice feature. Me being someone who has long arms, I oftentimes find myself kind of uncomfortable with the steering wheel positioning because it typically just raises up and down. So the fact that you can adjust this out towards you is a very nice feature. Now on the steering wheel here itself to the right, you'll find your controls for your cruise control. And then on the left side of the steering wheel here, you've got your volume controls and then your channel or track control. And then just below that, your mode. So that determines if you're listening to FM, AM, CD, and so forth. Now as we take a look at the center console here, you'll see it's very simple and straightforward. Your audio controls, if you want to change the track, you just press a button. If you want to switch between radio and a CD, you can do that. Now this is a 2004. You not only have a 6-disc CD changer, but you also do have a tape player. But again, all very simple and straightforward as far as adjusting the volume or anything like that. As we move just above that, you'll find your controls for the climate controls. Again, very straightforward, easy to use, nothing complicated, where you have to go into some crazy computer system and try to keep your eyes on the road at the same time. Now above that in this screen here, this top left corner will always show you the current time, and then below that you'll see your climate settings. This top right corner of the screen can be adjusted by pressing this info button. You can have that show a range of different things, whether it be the current amount of miles driven on this current trip or current time driven. But the most useful thing, in my opinion, would probably be the remaining cruising range until you run out of gas. Now down here on your gear shifter, you'll find your Ect Snow Button. What that is your electronically controlled transmission. What it does is it'll reduce throttle response for a more gradual acceleration to help reduce any wheel spin if you're driving on snow or ice. Just above that, you will find your controls to turn the heated seats on for both the front passenger as well as the driver. To the right of that, you will find that button to activate those front headlight wipers I showed you at the beginning of the tour. And last thing to the right of that is just another cigarette lighter power outlet. Now up top here, you'll find your controls to open the sunroof and moonroof, which this vehicle has. However, while it does open in this one, that motor to close, I guess, has kind of died after all these years, so the owner doesn't open this one up at all. Here you've got your sunglass holder that pops down from the ceiling, of course your light, and then your controls to set for opening a garage. Well, that wraps up the walk around tour of the exterior and interior of the vehicle. I'll put you in the driver's seat now so you can see what it's like driving it. do have to say, this vehicle being 17 years old, having over 220,000 miles on it, it does not feel like that is the case. It feels much newer. Probably drives better, honestly, too, than some vehicles from other car manufacturers that are a lot newer than this is. This vehicle is from a time when, you know, Toyota and Lexus were probably overbuilding cars even more so than they are now. And you can just see that throughout the tour today of this vehicle, just the way the materials, the quality of everything is held up. I showed you on the dashboard the only issue really being that small little tear, but there's no warping of the dashboard or anything like that. All the functions of the vehicle, the AC, the heat, the CD player, radio, all that stuff still works fine. And again, there's not as much technology and electronics, so there's less to break and less to go wrong. This is one of the nicer things about, I think, luxury vehicles of this era versus our current era. You know, the current ones are so overly involved with electronics and technology. There's more to go wrong. Things are complicated when you just want to turn a seat warmer on or change the radio station. So that is something I do like a lot about this vehicle. And not only that, but the vehicle itself to drive is just very comfortable. You can just set yourself up for comfort on a long road trip. I talked about how comfortable and soft the seats were. The driving position here, again, for me being 6'1", having long arms, having long legs, I can get into a very comfortable driving position where I'd be fine driving 6-7 hours on a road trip. These vehicles, when brand new, were about 36 grand back in 2004. Now you can find these used for under 10 grand for sure. I actually saw one a few days ago listed. It had 66,000 miles, clean title, looked really good, and they were asking about 10.7. I checked a day later and it was already sold. But again, this one being 220,000 miles, you paying under 10 grand for something with a little over 100,000 miles on it, it still has plenty of life left. Now, of course, being 17 years old and having 220,000 miles, the owner did have to do some work, right? So yes. What was some of the things that you had to do throughout the course once you took the vehicle over?
I got the gasket change. I checked for oil leaks. I did a timing belt. I did all the fan belts, changed the oil, put in some fuel injector to get better mileage, and now the car runs like a charm.
Yeah, and I mean, I can tell with all the work you've done, it's, like I said, just very comfortable to drive and does not at all feel like it has 220,000 miles on it or like it's 17 years old. Well, that wraps up the review of this vehicle. I hope you enjoyed watching and checking out the vehicle with me. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already to join the Car Squad fam and not missing out on any other videos like this. And also be sure to go give us a follow on Instagram at Car Squad TV. I'll put the link right here. Look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good one. Thanks.